Grace and peace, grace and peace, grace and peace. Big Cat's in the building. Yay, Big Cat. Salute to you, sir. I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope all is well. Family's doing good. All right, let's get it popping for a second. Now I'm going to turn my mic up. So today's topic is going to be a hot one. I'm already getting hot. All right, first we're going to start off with today's, let me do Instagram, but hold on, let me read this out to you guys. So it's July 2nd. It's Cancer season in the beginning, right? Shout out to all my Cancers who celebrated their birthdays or about to celebrate their birthdays. I'm with you. My birthday's in 2 weeks. All right, so today's moon is in Aries, harmony with Mercury. So NASA's in the building. Salute. So Mercury is about communication. And I guess this is why I've been turmoiling in my sleep, really restless for the past couple of days. But mostly today, early this morning, Spirit was leading me to come on today and talk about some hot topics, some trending topics, and one of them being Bill Cosby. So let me just give you all this good stuff that's happening right now. We're in Moon and Aries. So that's Mercury. Again, that's that Mercury and Mars. It's a lot of this passion. It's about letting out what you need to say. This is why the headline is doing your shadow work, working with your inner self, getting through those dark times, those dark spaces, those dark Willie's in the building. Yay. Getting through those dark moments in time where you have to kind of have self-resilience. You gotta have self-perseverance, because sometimes there's not going to be anybody around who's going to give you what you call positive reaffirming and positive affirmations back to you, right? There's going to be a time in your life where there might be a moment where you have to do things really by yourself, right? And you're not going to like that. You might feel like, well, where's everybody when I need them? This is the perfect time when you start having to rely on yourself. You have to do that shadow work. It's not pretty. It's not easy, but it has to be done. That's the only way you're going to evolve, getting into your higher selves. With that also being said, when you see things that don't make sense to you and you have that gut, that's spirit talking to you. You have that gut feeling and it's not resonating with you. That's what it is. Lotus is in the building. Good morning, my dear. Grand rising to everybody. Grand rising. Love and light to all you guys. Salute to everybody who's coming through. Today's really not about the cards, but that doesn't mean that we can't do a reading. Today is really about working with your shadow side, the things that we don't really like to discuss and talk about with other people. Some things that might be off topic and sensitive. So I'm going to be talking about that sensitive part today. So anyway, we got 1010. So that's master number 11. So I'm being led to speak with you guys. All right. So today we have the moon is in Aries in harmony with Mercury. So expect conversations to run smoothly. You may feel more confident when speaking your mind. All right. This is a great day for negotiations, business meetings, or social interactions. I just read this morning, like maybe an hour ago. All right. What not to do is keep your mouth shut. Speak your mind with compassion and confidence. I'm all for it. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So let me get on with Instagram real quick and let them know I'm over here in the YouTube streets. All right. So Instagram, Grand Rising. We're here. It's Friday, July 2nd. Yes, it's Cancer season. It's hot out. We coming off of a heat wave in New York City. So it's like, it's muggy. It's kind of rainy. It's cloudy and stuff. But, there goes my other son, my older son. All right. So it's a little nasty weather. But anyway, that doesn't make anything, has to do with anything with my topic. I have to read the copyright. It's also in the description. All right. So we're going to dot our I's and cross our T's with the copyright of 1976 for fair use, fair use, fair use, right? It's for teaching, news reporting, commenting. I'm paraphrasing, but it's in the disclaimer. It's in the description box. If you guys want to jump over from Instagram, come on to YouTube. It's Foxy Moon Premieres on YouTube. So the topic that I want to talk about is Bill Cosby. So he just celebrated a birthday and he just came out of jail. I'm going to talk about 3 other men. So why I'm bringing this up is because I went on somebody's platform yesterday, Maine the Milkman, behind the bar. And it was a salute to one of the people that his longtime peoples. I don't know. I'm still Johnny, come lately onto the scene. But the floor was open to kind of talk about, Bill being out. So I kind of, in a heckling, but not in a heckling way, asked, so does that mean R. Kelly can come out? Asking for a friend. So mostly everybody but one said keep his ass in jail. I was like, okay. So why do I bring that up? There were 3 other men besides Bill Cosby. So it's kind of making me, there goes my brother. It's kind of making me tap into my spiritual frequency, if you will, tap into that inner gut feeling that's like, first of all, I knew Bill Cosby was innocent. But, we got the jokes, Pudding Pop, Pill Cosby. Same thing with R. Kelly when back in the days, it was Piss Kelly. Right. So this is what we do. We heckle, you know what I'm saying? We poke and we make fun of, we make light of the situation, but they're very serious situations. They're allegations. Now, disclaimer, I am not a legal representative. I do not have a firm. I am not an attorney. I am not a legal aid. All right. So that's another disclaimer in my description. But I've been to court numerous times for variant people, including jury duty in my family, to know a little bit about the legalese of the New York State court, New York City courthouses, and the legalese, the legal terms that they use that can fly over somebody who's not really savvy, can fly over their heads. A little sip. Now, the 3 other men that I'm going to talk about, I just named another one, is R. Kelly, Tupac Shakur, and Mike Tyson, who also has got a birthday coming up soon. I'm going to throw out some terms. I will read you the definitions of them so we are all on the same page about what's really the real deal, why they're going and being accused of sexual assaults, big, heavy convictions, right? Convictions, allegations, alleged, trial, defamation of character, assassination of character. This is not to say that I am for any physical sexual abuse, assaults, or any of that. But I also understand that the open enemy has it out, especially for the quote unquote Black male, Latino male in society. Those 4 men also play a very pivotal point in my life growing up. So some of you guys are about 10 years younger than me. I'll be 45. So I bring that up because Bill Cosby, I grew up on Bill Cosby. I loved his He did his stand up, and I memorized that by heart. Okay, Black Cup says yes. We need to talk. So I memorized his stand up. It was called Bill Cosby Himself. It was on HBO. I forgot the year. I want to say maybe 86. You guys can Google it. But before that was the Fat Albert Show, right? Then he came out with the Cosby Show. Then he came out with the college show that I forgot what is it, Different World. Then Mike Tyson came out, right? He was the champ in that era, heavyweight. I believe one of the youngest. I think he was like 19 at the time, or 20, 21, in that age group to become the world's heavyweight champion. Fast forward maybe 10 years, we got Tupac Amaru Shakur, who was very influential for me with songs like Trapped, Keep Your Head Up, and Brenda's Got a Baby. Shift another 10 years, we have Robert Kelly, who the 12 Play album, When a Woman's Fed Up, Sex Me, You Save Me, Chocolate Factory, Happy People. So all four of those men have something very significant. Besides, for me, they have sex charges against women, or excuse me, I should say women claiming they were sexually abused, mistreated, so forth and so on. We understand that the enemy always does this type of trickery, right? They try to, as we say, defile that person's reputation. Now, Bill Cosby has a lengthy resume. I'm almost in awe, I guess not in awe, but trying to figure out what was it that R. Kelly was going to do or not do that he was now convicted of sex trafficking, underage. Listen, I have all my notes here. So before we go jumping in, I'm going to tread as lightly as I can because it's a sensitive situation. It's a sensitive discussion. And I'm trying to be as very careful with my words and very clear with this is just my opinion. This is not a fact that somebody's trying to, well, it might be, but we can't prove that these people are being assassinated, character assassination. When R. Kelly sat with Gayle King, she knew the trigger words. So we laughed when he got upset and said, y'all trying to kill me? You trying to assassinate me? We laughed. Some of us laughed. Some of us thought he's lying. I didn't see that. I saw somebody that was very, very upset and was really in a battle by himself to prove that he's innocent. Now, this, my opinion, might sound like a defense for all these four men. And to some degree, yes, it is because also I've been with them through my life, my childhood, my teenage years, my young adult, my midlife. So I also understand that the open enemy does things like this. That our good brother Malcolm X said, I know that there were informants in my camp. I know that there were the police department in New York City acting as double agents, agent provocateurs. He knew this. you know, what happens with any young person that is pushed into a situation like a limelight where they're becoming an athlete or a actor or rapper.
So defund the police's jump from a provocative
Hollywood the plug, peace, peace, peace. I'm gonna try not to read too much into the comments because I don't want to like stop us, because this is something of a sensitive conversation. Yes, Lotus says Hugh Hefner sex trafficked minors for years and no one said thank you. Let's talk black, and let's talk for real. Let's talk seriously for a second, because with all jokes aside, Lotus Bomb here on YouTube had just brought up a point. Instagram, she said Hugh Hefner, oh, how they glorified him. Oh, we were buying Playboy magazines by the bushels. She said Hugh Hefner sex trafficking minors. Now, this is alleged. I don't know if this is so quote unquote true. She says that trafficked sex minors for years and no one said a word. Anything hell they gave him, he showed to exploit it. That's right, Black Queen. Black Queen says mental health is real. This is also doing with the shadow work, guys. That's what I'm saying. If we don't get right with ourselves, that we're open to anything and anyone coming to exploit us. So R. Kelly said that he says, we don't know if this is true or not, that, it happened to him, that he was assaulted as a child in a sexual manner. We don't know. First of all, we don't really know. All right, so I'm going to start dropping some terms, guys. Let's get familiar with some legal terms. Again, disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I am not a legal aid. I do not represent any legal counsel at all. But I've been to court a couple of times, civil and criminal. Not for me personally, but I've been there. And jury duty. We know some legal jargon. All right. So let's get the first word. Okay. So also, no one knows what's going on with R. Kelly, right? Or maybe they do. They're not talking about it. R. Kelly was transferred from Chicago to Brooklyn. He's in the federal prison right now in Brooklyn. He was transferred over June 23rd, 2021. His case is going to be coming up for trial the end of the summer. This is where he will either be found guilty or not for some sexual, quote unquote, sexual assault. Chicago. So they got him in Chicago, but all right. Let's find out what the word charged is. I got my notes today. It may refer to a formal accusation of an offense, which is the preliminary step to prosecuting. It also could mean to indict or formally accuse a person. I said trial, right? He's coming up for his trial the end of the summer. He's here in New York City. He's in Brooklyn Federal Penitentiary. They transferred him over from Chicago. He was in Chicago. Now he's here in New York City because he has a case out here in New York City. This is very multi-layered, and I'm going to try to be as clear and not long-winded, and try to be as sensitive as possible with these situations. But I just want us to refresh that R. Kelly, Mike Tyson, Tupac Shakur, and Bill Cosby were all under that same broad stroke of sexual assault to females. Now, R. Kelly, they're saying it's sex trafficking of minors. In Chicago, it was under 18 years of age, but over 16. Now, I don't know their laws as far as emancipating adults, but you can emancipate yourself at the age of 15, 16. I don't know how that goes in Chicago, but $18, you're having sex. Let's be for real. Shit. I was 15 and I was pregnant. No, I wasn't pregnant from a 24-year-old, but I definitely did talk to them when I was like 18, 19, even 15. So with R. Kelly situation, it's a twofold where it's kind of both parties. It's kind of the parents' fault for letting, first of all, why are you bringing your minor child to an R. Kelly concert when you know what R. Kelly is about? That just strikes up red alert. Right, 16. You know what I'm saying? So let's be clear. Let's stop acting like we don't do these things and we never really had sex at an early age or dated or messed around with somebody that was a little older than us. Now you throw in the fame. This is what they did with Tupac. Come on. Same thing with Mike Tyson. He was married at the time. Married. That doesn't make a difference, but he was married. Tupac served 9 months. Mike Tyson did 1.5 years, I believe, and Bill did about 2.5 years. Not exactly 3. If it was so detrimental, why are you letting these people out in a short amount of time? If it's a sexual assault, that means they're deviants. That means that they can prey on women. Well, why are they out so early? Okay, so we got what the meaning of charged is. Let's go to defamation of character, because this is what it's really about. And I'm curious to know what R. Kelly was or wasn't going to do that they would bring up these charges. Now, the wife, so really, technically, they got him on child support. There's not enough evidence. So if that's the case, take out the cameras that he has in his house, and that's what they probably might do, right? So here's defamation of character, guys. Defamation of character is typically defined as a false statement someone makes about you, which they publish as a statement of fact. So this is so that's me saying this person is a thief because I have some vendetta against this person. So I'm going to make up all kinds of falsities and whatever. But this person actually has good integrity, right? That's what we're talking about, character, your character. This is why I'm saying with your shadow side. If you walk with your shadow side, nobody can really mess with you because they'll know, you know what, this person is like that. You don't have to question their character. All right. So it's a false statement someone makes about you, which they publish as a statement of fact and which harms your personal and or professional reputation. A statement that is merely someone's opinion is not defamatory unless it is presented as if it were a fact. So how could they prove what's good? All right, Lotus. So they did a 5-part documentary on Netflix, Surviving R. Kelly. I think it was 5 parts. To add salt to the wound, they did a remix and brought another whole section of 5 parts. I don't know about you, but that sounds like that's defamation of character. And I'm going to continue. Someone would have to prove that that statement was made by a person who either knows it was false at the time. The statement is also, so how you send out against somebody who's public, like an R. Kelly, like a Bill Cosby, like a Tupac Shakur, like a Mike Tyson, if they're in the limelight, right? You make a public statement, whether it be posting it online, inclusion in a newspaper or magazine, repetition on the news broadcast. i.e. Netflix, and you run it over and over and over and over and over. So now that starts sinking in the person's psyche, and you're like, that might be true. Look at all these women that came out to say something. This might be true. Now, R. Kelly it was dated back in 1998, the case in Chicago. The case in New York is 10 years old. Let's just keep that in mind. Bill Cosby's situation was 30 years old. This is why. All right, guys. So Instagram, come on over. I'm shutting that off because I want to give you the information of what Robert Kelly's what is looking like for his trial coming up. All right. So peace to everybody who's coming through. Thank you. And if you want a personal reading, please hit me in the DM box. Thank you. Okay. So let's go to what Mr. Kelly, and this is from the NPR newspaper. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Copyright disclaimer, fair use. I will read this again. Copyright, fair use. Disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in the favor for fair use. Rouse Girl's in the building, my beauty queen. So I'm going to just give you guys a shout out real quick before I start going into this whole article. All right. King Ramon came through. Salute, sir. PYE. I love it. Protect your energy. King Ramon. Copyright. Yo, you can't even play around anymore with this stuff. All right. So Uncle Frank says, as soon as Chauncey Billups got coaching in Portland, they brought up, in 1976. So I'm not sure of that particular situation, Uncle Frank, but that sounds about right. When you get into a certain status, they start, as I just mentioned, defoul your characteristic, your character, defamation of characterization. Again, my third eye is asking, what was R. Kelly going to not comply with anymore? Or what was he going to do that was going to get him? Now he's been ostracized. He's been cut down. We know that this is alleged now, and I'm going to read that term. I'm not sure if that's true, but Bill Cosby was trying to buy out NBC. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty big. That's a network that the Alphabet Boys run. Bill Cosby was going to get that. Remember the Malcolm X movie? That's the cop said that's too much power for one man to have. Now, guys, I might be in my feelings. I might be reaching. This could be the Aquarius arising in me. And R. Kelly is guilty in some ways. But let me just propose this to you guys. What family member is of no blemish? What family member, it could be a drunkard, could be a dopehead, crackhead, prostituting, burglar, might be a sexual deviant, emotional abuser, physical abuse. What family is from that they don't have that going on in their family? And what's so crazy is that the Black community, the quote unquote Black community, will sway either way. Whatever the news tells them, they're going for it, right? Because we don't have no other, we have to kind of rely on that. If that's what they're saying, that's what they're telling us, then it's true, right? Is it? Or is it shots fired at somebody's character? Now, Tupac Shakur, you know, and I got heckled, especially by my father. He's a rapist. Why do you like him? My grandmother. He says, bitch, why do you like him? You can do it to me. And it's not proven that he did that. All four of these men are standing in their truth that they did not do this stuff. Excuse me, these sexual assaults. Right? Even if you are proven guilty and you didn't do it, everybody's looking at you like you did it. I'm going to go back to 1989, April, New York City, Harlem and Pacific. Now, some of y'all, like I said, I'm a little older than you guys. I'm a little dated. All right. So 1989, Hollywood plug, salute. I was 13 years old. It was Easter break. And there was 5 arrests of minors, so-called Black and Hispanic, who were charged for raping, nearly killing a Caucasian woman who worked in the financial district. You guys know them as the Central Park Five. They are now the exonerated 5. And we know that they were framed. They were coerced. They had to corroborate stories with adult men. One said, I don't even know what touching all over the place means. I'm 14 years old. Now, here's the double standard in a sense, because a 14-year-old boy is really not a 14-year-old boy in the mind frame. Now, a 14-year-old girl is about 7 years older. So she's mature in that mind frame. Good brother Lonnie Cabal, we had this discussion the other Monday about double standards, where a woman could say something and kind of get away with it. And if, you know, a man says it, that he's hanging himself. Guys, I'm taking my time. I'm taking my time because it's a lot. And I don't want to seem like I'm on the defense, but I have to weigh out all the options. I have to look at the whole thing, not just these isolated sexual charges and sex trafficking, because in Chicago, it was minors, but they were over 16. Watch, guys. So R. Kelly was charged with 2 criminal counts in Minnesota. Minneapolis. They messed up the Minneapolis. All right. Now this was dated. This article is coming out of the NPR article dated August 5th, 2019. All right. So Kelly was charged. Did we read what the definition of charge is? Hold on. Let me read that for you guys so you know these words. Charge means a formal accusation on an offense, which is the preliminary step to prosecution, to indict or formally accuse the person. Fair use disclaimer, I am not a legal representative. I am not a legal aid. I am not an attorney. But as I stated before, I've been to court numerous times in my life. So understand a little something. All right. So Kelly was charged Monday in Minnesota with 2 criminal offenses related to engaging in prostitution with a minor. A female fan of the singer who was under the age of 18 but above the age of 16 at the time approached him to get an autograph. Kelly allegedly gave her the autograph along with a phone number. When she called it, he told her to come to the hotel. At this point, the county alleges Kelly offered the girl $200 to dance for him naked. I'm not going to go into the further details because that's disturbing, right? But then I also, it's alleged, like who really has the proof? So it's her word against his word. And of course, they're going to take her word because one, she was a minor. But this happened nearly 20 years ago. I don't know about you, but as I said, I'll be 45 in 2 weeks. My mind it kind of can remember 20 years ago. And if that's something that's so detrimental, yes, absolutely. We remember that. Now, if she was under the age of 18, but over 16, that means she's 17 years old. You know, right or wrong. Let's be very clear. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. Now, you taking a phone number from a grown man and you know who he is. Stop playing. So Bill Cosby's was 30 years. These women, I mean, they had 40 women come out. I don't remember the number to say they were roofied and sexually assaulted. Well, how the hell do you remember that? And back in the 70s, they all were doing weird shit. One man banned TVs in the building. Salute, sir. Thank you, Lotus. I need that clarification. 16 is consensual in some states. I want to be objective with this. I'm not really trying to get on their bandwagon and be like, oh yeah, it just puts a sour note to my feelings because I grew up with Bill Cosby. I didn't catch his reruns. I caught them live. I think it was every Thursday night. I grew up with Fat Albert and the teachings and the lessons that he gave after every episode. I watched Different World. I watched Mike Tyson on HBO when he gave his knockouts. We all were like, yeah, this is the champ. Brooklyn, he's the hero. Tupac Shakur comes out. Who was this man talking about? Keep your head up. To all the single ladies, to all the single mothers. I know it's rough on your own. Daddy's long gone. What? I was a teenage mother. He sang to my heart because that was exactly what happened. Daddy long gone. Thank you for my kids if nobody else wants them. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting emotional, guys. Because Tupac, you know how I feel about Pac. His mother did this. His mother did this. His mother did this. And got herself and the others off. Pregnant with Tupac. Sorry. I don't want to come out. I'm just saying. We have to make things make sense. Now, if this is all very well true, which it shows that it's not, so why can't R. Kelly come out then? So he has a trial in New York. He's here in Brooklyn. Well, not here. He's here in New York City. waiting for trial the end of the summer on a sexual case. I'm not sure if it was no, it wasn't sex trafficking. All right, hold on. Let me go into this case coming up now. Mind you guys, the ex-wife went on about how she didn't have to get child support. So let's be also clear that when there's like a bitter divorce or breakup, almost 8 out of 10 women will be vindictive against that man and go and take him to court so that they can get money, because that's their way of getting back at them, by going into the pockets. Now, I'm not saying that's not a right thing to do if that person is a deadbeat and they're not contributing anything. But for the most part, that's what they do. So he had to give up because he didn't pay child support. I don't know why. Maybe he knew that she was manipulative and wasn't using the money towards the kids, but to her, because she was living a good lifestyle and fur coats and shoes and bags and eating out and all that good shit that comes with all the money that R. Kelly pumped out for 15 plus years. So one band, before I go into reading his case that's coming up now, one man band says they hate to see when any Black woman or man have power, intelligence, and a strong mind. And he's banging. See, thank you, one man band, because I was going to label this war briefing. I was going to label the title war briefing. But then I was like, that might be a little too much. But let's be very clear, we're at war. We're at a spiritual and a physical warfare within the Black, so-called Black, quote unquote, Black community. Now, I don't go out banging my chest and banging, I'm a quiet activist, but I'm an activist in my own right, and especially for the Black male, especially. Why? Because they are the ones that get accosted. That's another legal word. I didn't write that down, but they get accosted more so than the Black woman does. And they get mistreated way worse. Now, I don't hear too many stories about how, besides, the Breonna Taylors and the Sandra Blands, and, and Sandra was a very intelligent woman. She was an activist in her own right. I got goosebumps thinking about her. She's beautiful, beautiful soul. I never met her, but beautiful soul. So what I'm saying is that I'm going to go hard for my male Hispanics and male Black men, because I grew up that way with them. I grew up with strong, no nonsense, alpha Black and Hispanics, Caribbean rather. So maybe that's my I don't know, affinity. I don't know. But I'm gonna go hard. I have 2 sons. I have my stepson and I have my natural born son, my blood son. Right or wrong as he may be, I will go to bat for him. And I have. I'm going to slow down because we're talking about R. Kelly right now. That's who I really wanted to talk about, because Bill Cosby's out now. Rightfully so. R. Kelly's about to go against the state of New York. He's in the federal penitentiary here in New York City. He's waiting for his trial, which will come about in the end of the summer. All right, Lotus. What did she say? My statements are not meant to trigger. I advocate every day. Yeah, I don't want to trigger. Thank you, A boy. I don't want to trigger, but it's a triggering situation. And Lotus said the right word. She said, my statements are not meant to trigger. I advocate every day for all victims and all people who can't advocate for some. I think that's what it really is, Lotus. I think you hit it on the head. It's because I'm more for the activists of the young Black and Hispanic males than the grown man, in a sense, right? 25 is like the cutoff because they're still kind of like that, not quite man, but like man child, for better lack of words. And that's what happened with Tupac. And then he was killed, or assassinated rather, at the age of 25. So let me go and read into what R. Kelly's thing is for New York State, because in Chicago it was child trafficking, but they couldn't get him on that. Because if they did, he would still be there, right? Or not. See, that's where I get a little, but he has to come here because there's a case out open for him here in New York City. All right, so singer R. Kelly, again, fair use, fair use, fair use. This is for teaching, education, comments, so forth and so forth on the copyright of 1976, the Copyright Act. All right, singer R. Kelly has been moved to federal custody in Brooklyn from Chicago ahead of his imminent trial on sex trafficking charges. Okay, so it's sex trafficking, but it's only one. It's. Let me read it. Okay, it was not immediately clear exactly when the one-time R&B superstar was moved, but Federal Bureau of Prison records show Kelly is now housed in the Metropolitan Detention Center. A judge approved to move it in April, saying sufficient precautions were in place after the pandemic to let the trial move forward later this summer. The 50-year-old Kelly has been in custody in the Metropolitan Correction in downtown Chicago since he was indicted. Did I write what that term was? No, I didn't. All right. So indicted basically is that they have to get these charges up on you and then they can bring you in, right? We've convicted you now. So there's different channels. Again, I don't represent a legal place. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal aid advisory. I'm not a legal aid, but I know a little bit of everything. Listen, with this and this, listen. Kelly has denied ever abusing anyone and has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him. He faces several dozen counts of state and federal sexual misconduct charges in Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. From sexual assault to heading and racketeering. I didn't write that definition down, but who uses those terms? Racketeering. They do. The alphabet boys. You know who they are. So he was the sexual assault to heading racketeering scheme aimed at supplying Kelly with girls. So paid for play. Prosecutors in Brooklyn allege, and I will read what allege means. Kelly led an enterprise made up of his managers, bodyguards, and other employees who helped him recruit women and girls for sex. A jury is expected to hear testimony from alleged victims, each identified in court papers as Jane Doe. Kelly has denied sex trafficking allegations. His attorney said that their client is looking forward to the trial. I'm going to stop right there for a second because I'm going to go back to his court appearance with the child support as I was talking about his ex-wife. All right, let me read you guys' comments. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying on this long and hearing me out. I appreciate you guys. Those who hear me later, I appreciate that. Drop a comment, anything. Feel free to do the comments, cash apps, but more importantly, just hear me out. because it's my perspective. It may not be the right perspective. I'm not here to debate it, whether it's right or wrong, because it has multi layers to it. But I want us to see the bigger picture, is what I'm trying to get us to understand, the broad stroke of it all. And why would he be brought up on something that happened 20 years ago? Why was Bill Cosby brought up on something that happened 30 years ago? Why was Tupac sex allegations brought up a couple of years before that? Because remember, he popped on the scene in 91, right? So he was out in California in 17, and that's when Digital Underground, he was touring with them. So he really had a short little span. So everything kind of like an atom bomb just kind of infused and blew up in his short little time that he came out. Same thing with Mike Tyson. So I brought up 4 men. It's Bill Cosby, Mike Tyson, Tupac Shakur, and Robert Kelly. All under that same sexual assault, misconduct, right? As my beautiful Lotus stated a little while ago, Hugh Hefner, that's all what the Playboys were about. Them Playboy bunnies, that's all that they were. That was that. And they were minors. Or maybe they were 18. I don't know. I wasn't there. But there have been stories, but no one did anything. Also, he's Caucasian. The big W guy, I don't want to say his name, he's brought up on sexual charges too. Where he was out on bail, walking around with a little walker. Y'all saw him? Going to New York, the courthouses down in New York City. Y'all saw him? He was out, but Bill had to do some time. Okay. So this is chess, not checkers. It's reported, allegedly, that Bill Cosby was going to buy out NBC Network. They own that network. Why would we let this black man, this affluential black male, get that network? Who was he going to talk to? Who was he going to educate? Who was he going to uplift? Okay. Yeah, Lotus. You know, birds of a feather flock together. They did these things, but one has to be the fall guy. The other one with the initials EP, that passed, that whatever died in jail, he was the fall guy. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not sitting here like they're like completely, their character's so completely innocent. They're not with no blemish, because none of us are. You can sit here and say, oh, I've done nothing. Then, whoa, I want to meet you because I want to know your secret. What did you do to escape some type of tarnish? Nobody's perfect. Some are a little worse than others, though. Let's be clear. There are deviants out there. I'm not going to sit here and wipe that under the rug and say, no, there's not that kind of stuff going on. Yeah, man. Steelers. I'm a big Steelers. Nah, Kansas City, man. So that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so Lotus, yeah, you did mention Cardi, and I wanted to bring that up as well. So what about Cardi B? She drug, right, and she said it. And getting Grammys. How do you come on social media and you admit this? You drugged men. We know which men you are drugging, though. Then she goes on to say, these are her words. This is coming out of her mouth. Y'all could find it on social media. But I'm paraphrasing. If he acts up, we're going to do a threesome. I'm going to get a tranny to run on him. You drugging the man. You robbing him. Is that not sexual assault? But no one's come out to say it. So we don't know if she's really talking shit or if this really is how her life, like what she was really doing. We know she was a stripper from the Bronx. We hear her talking. She's got a not that really articulate, not too intelligent. But she knows how to get the paper. She paper chases, as they say. Lotus, we are in a society in general. Yeah, we got our priorities way off the Richter scale. This is also why I'm talking about that shadow work as well, guys, because when we start working with the shadow side of us, those deviant behaviors, those toxic behaviors that we keep pushing down and down and down, they fester like an infection. And now this toxicity rises up in us, and we're walking around here. We're not trying to fix that problem. You got to start working on that shadow side and learn how to walk with it. Like Pac knew how to walk with it. He never claimed he was perfect, but he knew how to handle his shadow side and walk with his light. So that's all that I'm trying to say. I don't want to go on this. I mean, that's pretty much what I wanted to bring to us. We're going to make light of the situation. I'm sure when Kel's thing comes up, we all going to go back to Piss Kelly and all that good dumb shit we talk about in crack jokes and, Bill Cosby. It's what it is. But we need to also remember who the open enemy is, what they do, how they target, what would these entertainers sign up for, right? Because we know that they signed a contract. We know about the casting couch, allegedly. Let me read what that term is anyway. The word alleged is accused, but not proven or convicted. Asserted to be true or to I started talking about legal this. I want to skip because that's not really my platform. I do have a voice. I do feel it needs to be. Y'all must tell him to do something today. I need to talk because when he was like, So one man band is, nobody's Cardi. Nobody really, and you like most men. That's where I'm saying the standard. It's almost like how are we gonna come rate or not to male can